guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. It is Wednesday. I am feeling a little bit better. As you can see, there's a lot less swelling going on here. I'm super grateful that I'm on the right medications and I am doing better today. And I have been stuck in a rabbit hole all morning because one of my subscribers was like, Katie, you have to check into this because this is trending on Twitter. Well, it wasn't really trending, but it's going around on Twitter and it's happening in your state. And I want you to see if this is actually true and what you think about it. So I was like, sure, I can look into it. This is a story you've probably never heard of, and I apologize ahead of time. But hey, this is the kind of stuff that you guys like to hear about on these channels, are these one-off stories. So it's about a little girl named Rayla Adams, who's now named Agnes Adams, and it's about adoption and the possible theft of a baby. Yes, all of that in one story. So here's how it all plays out. Back in 2017, a little girl is born and apparently given up for adoption. Okay. An adoptive couple named Joanna and Jake Lentner, who are in Minnesota, in Rice, Minnesota, which is it's sort of like western Minnesota. They adopt this baby girl. Now, they had a website that they shared their adoption story, and they talked about how, they started the process in 2015, that it could take a couple of years. They went through a very, they went through like the biggest adoption agency. It's Children's Home and then Lutheran Social Services, which is one of the largest adoption agencies in the state of Minnesota. And they say that not only were they using that, but they were going to do like requests. So if someone had a referral for a baby, they would also take those. And that's just an option that like all agencies tell you to do, is like put out that if somebody hears about a baby that wants to be given up, that you let them know that you're looking for a child, kind of like that. So mom and dad share the whole thing on their social media, and she also has this blog on Weebly where she talks about how she gets a call kind of like out of the blue that there was this mother that had picked her to adopt her baby, and that she was going to be going to the hospital to actually meet the baby. But it was just sort of a weird kind of story because she says she gets the call, finds out the baby's there. She needs to come get the baby now if she wants the baby. And she says that when they go to the hospital, this is what she says. As we walked into the maternity ward, I noticed instantly that it was dark. The lights were turned off, and I thought that was kind of strange. Then I thought maybe it created a calming environment for the moms and babies. The nurse that met us instantly started telling us that they were closing down their maternity ward. There was a department shuffle going on with the hospital, and they decided to shut down the maternity ward at St. Joseph's Hospital. Our baby, our sweet little girl, was their very last patient. Like, as in, there was no one else there that was being taken care of. She was it. You could see how proud they were. All of their faces conveyed the feeling. The fact that their last patient was an adoption, a unique story, they were proud. The nurse told us that they can't share that due to the fact that it's an adoption, but we can share it, and we said we would. It's just another unique piece of this amazing story, that the staff was amazing, and they not only loved up on our baby, but we will get there, but they showed the love to us. Then they brought us out to her. We met our baby girl by the nurse's station, which is wild. I asked if I could hold her. Oh man, I was sure that thought we were crazy, but it was all so surreal. 5 hours earlier, I was teaching 7th graders, helping them with their maps and planning my evening attendance at my niece's swim meet. Here I am with a sweet baby in my arms, being asked what her name is. Just like with the car seat, diapers, and formula, my mind went blank. Then I started thinking of the names that I had added to my list over the last 6 years, one after another. I said in it, my head looked at her, and I thought, nope, not it. In fact, Jake drove home that night, and I was looking at the names of the baby girls on my phone, and we honestly just got rid of some of the names and blah, blah, blah. She couldn't figure it out. But she says that it took her a while to name their baby girl, and she left without naming her, but the staff was super understanding. So I did a Google search, and it does turn out that St. Joseph's was closing. So while it sounds weird, the hospital actually announced in July of 2017 that they would be closing down their maternity ward and that other local hospitals would be sort of taking over that section, which makes sense because in St. Paul, there's like a zillion different hospitals. If you're familiar with St. Paul, Minnesota, the downtown area has like 3 different hospitals, maybe even more. There's a United, there's a St. Joseph's, and there is a Regent's. St. United is actually attached to Children's Hospital, St. Paul, and so typically they would do childbirth at United in the event that there would need to be a transfer to Children's Hospital. Make sense? Okay. So, and there's an equivalent one in Minneapolis called Abbott, which also is attached to the Minneapolis Children's. So a lot of babies are born at Abbott, and then they're transferred to Children's if they need specialty care. It just makes it a little bit more seamless. And then there can be a mother-baby center where the moms can have care from adult doctors and the babies can have care from pediatric doctors. It actually is pretty slick. So I wasn't shocked that I saw that they closed, and they actually closed on September 10th. Baby was born on September 6th. So if the baby had been there for a few days following the birth, hey, it could have actually been the last day that she was there. So this is the part where I'm like, that's not so weird. Even though it sounds weird, it's not that weird. So through this blog, the mom also shared the day of the adoption and shared a photo, and it said, I felt humbled by the fact that Agnes's birth mother had chosen us. We felt utter happiness and joy. We know our happiness comes at a cost for her, and for that we keep her in our thoughts and prayers daily. She was in our thoughts that day when we were getting ready to putting on jewelry on and fixing my hair and spraying my perfume. She was in my thoughts as I told Jake that he should button one more time, and asked him if he had his dress belt. I thought of her when I was dressing Agnes in her pink dress with a tulle skirt and polka dot tights, and as I slipped the headband on her sweet head of curly hair. I talked to Agnes about her birth mom, and even though her name is changing and we are so happy for this moment, we will think of her birth mom as we are an important part of our day. Even though she wasn't there, she's an important part of Agnes's life. So the way the mom and dad actually sign this up, it's like, baby's born in a hospital, mom decides to give baby up. They select her from, I don't even know, a list of parents. Maybe she had a social worker come in from a adoption agency that said, do you have any expected parents that are ready for a baby? And I mean, that can happen. It's rare, but it can. And she suddenly picks this family right after the baby's born, and they go from there. And she talks about how grateful she is to the mother. So typically in adoption in the state of Minnesota, you actually have to relinquish your rights to, you have to terminate your rights as a parent, and then you have to sign paperwork that would dictate that you are going to give this child up for adoption. The child is then placed with another family. You have to sign literally everything. It would be really hard for this to have happened without the birth mom knowing, unless the birth mom abandoned the baby, but she says that the birth mom picked her, so it wasn't an abandoned baby, right? Well, this is where it all gets tricky, okay? Because they've been sharing this on Facebook and such, and now the birth mom's coming out and basically saying they stole her. What? You're kidding, right, Katie? Nope. Demia Morris, the mom of this baby, she named Rayla Adams, she says that she was told that Rayla died and that she had the baby at home in September of 2017, that the baby was connected by an umbilical cord, that she wasn't breathing when she first was born, but paramedics were able to clip the umbilical cord, and then she was taken to St. Joseph's Hospital, where she was then told that the baby passed away, but she was still okay. She then says that she doesn't want to see the baby after it's passed because it fell into the toilet, and that was all she needed to see. And then she also said that she was taken to a funeral home, provided an urn, and then she was trying to get the death certificate, and then finds out that there's this open adoption in the name of this girl that she has. Weird, right? So she can't get any verification from the state that the baby is gone. And she claims that the baby was actually adopted out magically. I don't know how this would all work. And that she would then have a funeral home involved in this too, because she says that I was sent to a funeral home and given an urn. The lady that helped me in my home came to the hospital, brought me flowers, and the nurses help her put flowers in a vase as she grieved to them how she wished she could have done more to help the baby. It just doesn't make sense since I want and need to know the truth to what happened. She says, why do people have my baby? How can someone just give a call saying they're picked to take care of someone's baby without having time to plan, without the parent knowing about them. I'm a mother of 4, 5 including her before I had her, and I had 3 as a mother. We know it's in our nature to love and to protect them. I don't get how this happened. I've held on to that urn for 3 years for nothing. So she says that she didn't open the urn after she had the baby because she didn't want to look inside. But then when she opens up the urn, she says that there's no ashes in there, and now she's trying to figure out how to get her baby back. So then Dad, I start looking on Twitter, and there's a lot of people saying that this baby was stolen, right? So I find out, and I go to Dad's Facebook page, and I find that Dad has posted back in 2017 on September 15th that his daughter Rayla had passed away. And he shared a photo which said rest in peace. I also find that his sister, McKenna Adams, also shared a photo basically saying, "Auntie loves you, rest in peace." So it's clear that Mom told Dad that the baby passed away. Dad writes a song about her, makes a rap about her. He makes music and uploads it to SoundCloud. And then suddenly they find out that this baby is alive. At least Dad does. So Dad goes down to St. Joseph's and he protests. And he says that he just wants to get the birth records for the baby, but then they say that, Dad's not on the birth certificate, so therefore he can't actually get access to the records. But if the mom wants to get the birth certificate for Rayla, the mom, Demia Morris, can go down and actually get this birth certificate because it was her birth that happened at St. Joseph's, okay? So they're outside of St. Paul. There's a bunch of photos shared, a bunch of videos shared. Even his sister, whose name is Keela Brown, she actually shares a Facebook Live.
So, as y'all know, my little bro had a baby. Her real name is Rayella Adams. She was born September 6, 2017. I'm talking about 2019. She was born 2017, September 6, 2017. And my little bro, his baby mom, I'm gonna let y'all understand how this went, because a lot of people don't understand how somebody can have a baby and just be told such a lie. And I'm just finna help y'all understand something real quick. So she had the baby. The baby was born at home. Due to the baby being born at home, they had to call the ambulance there, so she had the baby on the toilet. They came, a lady from down the street from an elementary school came and helped them with the baby. Nobody has any professional care, to be cutting an umbilical cord. So she had to stay with the umbilical cord attached to her and the baby until the ambulance came. When the ambulance came, they cut the umbilical cord. When they cut the umbilical cord, the baby had her first cries. Wrapped the baby up, made sure the baby was good. The baby was live, well, breathing, good to go. They took her to the hospital in the ambulance, took the baby in another ambulance. Now, from the time from them leaving at home to get to the hospital, these people came up with a miraculous mother to steal somebody's child. Everybody's like, she never seen the body and all this. No, she never seen the body, because you got to understand, she was young. Your baby passed. Somebody tell you your baby passed. A lot of people don't want to see their baby's dead body. You feel me? So that's where her not getting that type of confirmation came in at. Because she did not want to see her baby's lifeless body.
Where she talks about how Demia had the baby, she didn't know she was pregnant, no prenatal care. She says that, when she was grieving, she didn't want to see the baby. She didn't think to open the urn. She never got the certificate. She kept getting the runaround from the state about the death certificate. And so they just want their baby back, okay? Well, they say that they reach out to Mom and Dad, Joanna and Jake Lentner, and they block the birth mom and take down everything offline. So Mom and Dad, when confronted by Demia, they private everything. So they take down their Facebook page, they take down their blog off of Weebly, and they private their Instagram accounts, and they also private their Twitter accounts. They delete their Twitter accounts, and mom even deletes her work website. She's a photographer. So Joanna privates everything. She's not responding. They go down to St. Paul. They're talking to the police. They want to know what happened to this baby. And none of this really makes a lot of sense. So say this is all true, and if the mom was actually telling the truth here, and I don't want to say that anyone is lying here, because this is a really big deal. Like, if you're telling me that a parent actually stole a baby, that's a big allegation. But if you're also saying that a mom is lying that her baby was stolen, that's also a big allegation. So what we would have to say is that if the mom is telling the truth, she would have had to been given birth, and then someone at the hospital would have had to decide that they were going to put this conspiracy together where they were going to claim that this baby had passed away, and that they were somehow going to get this mom to sign over their rights, which I still don't know how that happens, and she hasn't made that clear. She says she hasn't signed anything, but if you know anything about adoption, you have to sign your rights over. She also says that mom, Joanna, acts like she has this relationship with her. So if she has a relationship with the birth mom, she shouldn't be shocked when birth mom actually reaches out to her, unless someone I actually spoke to who is a foster parent said, hey, if the birth parents came after me, I would absolutely shut everything down too, because I would want to protect my child. I would want to protect everything that's going on. And perhaps this is just like a mom that has maybe lied to the dad. So that's what a lot of people here are thinking, is that perhaps Demia lied to the father that the baby had passed away in an effort to give up a child she perhaps wasn't aware she was going to have, and she maybe regrets telling him that now and has crafted this whole story. That's one angle that people are taking. Others are saying, well, perhaps the hospital developed this entire thing. Maybe someone at the hospital was working for the Lentners. Maybe one of the nurses was connected to the Lentners. Maybe something, here's the thing. For this to be true, she would have had to sign her rights away somehow. She would have had to been involved with this, because mom, Joanna, says that she has been involved and she was so gracious and thankful to the birth mom. There would be a adoption agency that also would have had to play a part in this as well. So the nurse at the hospital, the doctor at the hospital that did the death being pronounced had to be involved. The nurses would have had to be involved. They would have had to then get into child home and Lutheran social services, and then they would also have to get a funeral home involved, which would then be giving them an urn. And when you Google the girl's name, you can't find up anything about a funeral. So did mom give up the baby and then claim that it died to dad so that she didn't have to tell him that she gave him up for adoption, and now she maybe is regretting it? I don't know. Was there this massive conspiracy between a hospital and a adoption agency and a birth family? I can't even imagine that, but it's not the first time something like this has happened, and we do know that children are stolen and kidnapped all the time, and this can happen in situations where families are desperate and they want to have a child. But this one, I still can't figure out. There's so much out there. There's all these people that are claiming that Rayla has been stolen. They just want Rayla back, and they just want her to be back with her dad. I feel like dad is being honest. I feel like dad actually does think that this is the truth. I think dad has, for 3 years, thought that his daughter passed away. I don't discount that, because dad's history sort of tracks that on his Facebook. In terms of what mom is doing, I'm not sure. And they're also starting this GoFundMe where they're raising money, and it's for some sort of legal purposes. The GoFundMe has raised $3,000, and it doesn't really specify what it's for. It just says Rayla Adams organizing this fundraiser, and then she goes on her story, and she says, I just need help figuring out how to get my baby back through all trials and tribulations. So it doesn't necessarily state whether or not if it's going to be for her to hire a lawyer, or there's not a lot of clarity about what she's raising this money for. St. Joseph's has not said anything. Nobody in the local media in the state of Minnesota has picked this story up, even though they were outside protesting at St. Joseph's. And there's no stories about an abandoned baby at St. Joe's in this 2017 that I could find on a Google search. And then there's also no record of this baby in terms of like a funeral. And there's just not a lot of like, as much as I want to say, oh, this poor baby, I don't want to accuse either side of anything. So, what do you think? Do you think that this is a case of a child being stolen, or do you think this is a case of a birth mother trying to scam money through a GoFundMe and also trying to con a father who she might have lied to that a baby died? Or do you think this is true? Like, do you think a family literally stole this child from this unknown family and it was all some massive conspiracy? What do you think? I would love to know what your thoughts are. If you have any details about this, if you have any people that you know, let me know. I did reach out to the sister of the father to see if she wanted to talk. I have not heard back from her yet. So I am all ears. I'm going to stay neutral. It just seems like a little suspect, but stories like this do happen. So I can't completely clue it out, but there's an element of a scam here with the GoFundMe and with the mom's story. So there's two sides here. Birth mom has a weird story about the adoption, or adoptive mom has a weird story about the adoption. Birth mom has a weird story about the birth. The two sides do not match up, and somehow a prestigious hospital in St. Paul, Minnesota, is in the middle of it, along with the most reputable adoption agency in the state of Minnesota. So, tell me what your thoughts are. Is it a stolen child, or is it a scamming birth mom, or is it a regretting birth mom that's crafted the story because she didn't want to tell her baby daddy that she gave the child up? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.